Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Glossy Philosophy. My name is Jansen Bindman and today we are doing a look from Elizabeth I, 1998 movie that Morag Ross, the makeup artist, worked on with Cate Blanchett, and it is a phenomenal movie and especially the makeup is incredible. So stay tuned to see how to get this look. I've already washed my face and done my skincare, so now let's get into the tutorial. The first thing you want to do when you are going to do interesting makeup is pull your hair away, especially if you're really going to go for it with a character. So whether you're working on yourself or on an actor, you want to make sure that that hair is out of the way because you can always do the hair later. Especially when thinking about Elizabeth I, she usually had some kind of curl going on around her forehead to possibly cover the smallpox that she got, unfortunately, during her life. So let's just start by neutralizing the face. Even though we are going to go a little bit later with our foundation, something that is really important is still to neutralize the face. So we're going to use our NARS Tinted Smudge Proof eyeshadow base. And we just want to get rid of any discoloration that's going on, especially because we are going light. Now, Elizabeth I contracted smallpox and she ended up using Venetian ceruse, which was a mixture of vinegar and lead and possibly some other things, but not good for the skin. So her skin got completely pockmarked by the smallpox and she decided to wear heavier and heavier makeup throughout her life. She also ends up losing her teeth and her hair starts coming out, so she was dealing with quite a bit back then. I'm also going to take this and I'm just going to put it into my brow because my brows are a little bit darker, and when I'm thinking about how Morag Ross did Cate Blanchett's makeup, she whited out the brows. She didn't completely cover them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an eyeshadow and put it into my brows, and hopefully that will just whiten that up enough to give us a really good Elizabeth I canvas. So we are going to neutralize underneath the eye a little bit with some Bobbi Brown. This is also nice and light as well, so I don't think it'll peek through. The interesting thing about the 1998 film is that Morag Ross decided not to go full on white until the end of the movie when Elizabeth is making a proclamation in front of all of her men and court. And I think that's really interesting. Otherwise, she's really just a pale, she's definitely wearing makeup throughout the entire film and she's definitely paling her skin down. So we are kind of going with the not super white version of Elizabeth I. We're going to have a little bit of that skin peeking through, but it is going to be a lighter version of our skin. So I'm already pretty fair, but I grabbed some MAC foundation in NW10, and I'm going to mix this in with a little bit of eyeshadow as well, just to give us a light color. And I'm just gonna mix that up in my palette. I've saturated my brush with the mixture of the foundation and the eyeshadow, and I'm just going to start painting that onto the face. This is the brush that I used to mix the two together. So I'm just going to put it through the center of the face and then blend out with another brush, just so that I'm not wasting product. But you can see this isn't completely white. Like when I did my white and black tutorial, that was almost pure white, a little bit see-through. But this is just a lighter version. I also have a collar that I'm going to be putting on for the end shot, so I'm not too worried about going all the way down, but I do want to bring it down just a little bit. So I'm going to grab a little bit more of my brush and just kind of get that through a little bit more of the skin, and then I'll blend out in a moment. Now because I'm mixing the foundation in with a really light eyeshadow, I want to make sure that I'm not letting that sit on the skin for too long. Otherwise, it's going to dry down. If you are able to get your hands on more of a white pigment, that would be very, very helpful. And then just mixing it in with a lighter foundation is going to give you that trick. So you can see my face is quite a bit lighter than my skin tone. But we do want to make sure that we bring that all the way up. And I think I'm even going to put this in my brow too. Mixing up a new batch just to kind of finish this off. And she would have worn quite a bit of makeup, so I'm going to do the same thing and do a second coat. Really peel myself out through the center of the face, especially because if you really look at the pictures from the film, Morag Ross did not leave her completely stark white. There is a little bit of shading around her eyes and a little bit of pink in her cheeks and in her lips. However, they are not this pink. So now I'm going to switch to my foundation brush. And remember, when you bounce your brush, you get more coverage. This is also a good time to think about your ears too, depending on how into it you're going to get. I'm going to attempt some kind of Elizabethan hairstyle. So on the surface, it's a pretty easy makeup tutorial. The hardest thing is just making sure that you do bring a little bit of color back into the skin. And I'm even going to pale up my lips a little bit. And into my brows. We know that Elizabeth had red hair just like her father. So I have brunette hair. And I'm just going to bring that onto my lid. Getting very Elizabethan now. You can see the big difference. It looks like in her portraits that she might have also, she either had the artist white out her hands or she may have also put that onto her hands as well. I'm not sure. There's a good chance next year there's going to be a book on Elizabeth. So I'm just going to bring this down a little bit because again, I do have a collar that I made out of paper for the final photo. And I'm just going to keep going until I'm happy with the coverage. I'm pretty happy with this base, so now let's start to add a little bit of life back in there. I'm going to take my ANASTASIA spoolie and I'm going to add a little bit of that light shadow into the brows just so that we have a little bit of structure. But it matches our skin tone, our newly created skin tone. I'm going to go in with my Ambient lighting powder just to make sure everything stays put and to mattify just a little bit. Okay, now it's time to add a little bit of life back into the face. I'm going to go in with my 217 into my bronzer because it's a great skin tone color. And I'm just going to add a little bit into the socket. Cate Blanchett has fabulous bone structure. It's a little hard to tell sometimes if it's makeup or if it's just the lighting. Same thing on the other side. Just adding a little bit of bronzer into the socket and above. And then I'm going to add some bronzer, again using my 217 underneath. And you can see that this just gives a little bit of definition. It doesn't take away from the lightness of the foundation, but it adds a little bit more three dimension to the makeup. So going in again, just really, really lightly. We don't want this to become something else. And actually, I'm going to take my Sony Kashuk and I'm just going to soften that. So there's nothing on my Sony Kashuk brush, and I'm just going to soften that a little bit. And now we add a little bit of Sweet Enough to the cheeks. I'm actually going to use my bronzer brush because it's fluffier than my blush brush. Just a touch, just again to show that we are alive and make it a little bit more three-dimensional. We've already paled out our lips, so I'm going to go in with just a little bit of Kitten Mischief, and I'm actually just going to take it on my finger so it acts more like a gloss almost. And just tap that right in the center. And again, if we look really closely at what's going on with Cate Blanchett's eyelashes, it looks like Morag Ross almost used either a primer or something like that for the lashes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing that I did with my brows. I'm going to pick up some of that eyeshadow, and it looks powdery too in a couple of the shots that I saw. I'm going to pick up that eyeshadow and I'm going to put that into my lashes just to give a powdered effect. So that's it for makeup, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my hair and then I'm going to add my color, and I'll see you very soon. So now everything is complete. I've added my collar, I've added a little bit of jewelry, and I've quickly done my hair in somewhat of an Elizabeth I fashion. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope you check out Morag Ross. She is an incredible talent and so down to earth. She is amazing. She is Cate Blanchett's movie makeup artist, no matter what movie it is. If it's historical, if it's modern, it doesn't matter. She always makes her look incredible. And I'm doing another Cate Blanchett look for holiday from Cinderella. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I do fashion videos every Wednesday, beauty videos every Friday, and this month we are celebrating makeup artists and their incredible creations from some really fun movies. So make sure that you keep watching and follow me on Instagram and watch the shorts. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.